welcome to the League of Extraordinary Atheists for Humanism, where we attempt to apply logic and reason to religion and politics. I'm here with my lovely co-host, Christy Santiago. Say hello, Christy Santiago.
Hi, everybody. Happy Friday and happy holidays.
Yes. And also happy Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
But don't get mad about it. Don't rage about it. We have someone here to do that for us. Say hello, the Raging Atheist.
Hey, I didn't know it was Friday the 13th. You think I would have put it together?
I didn't know until like 2 hours before the show. I went through most of the day without even knowing that.
I went all day. Like at work, I'd have been messing with people all night.
Yeah. So, the first thing I have for everyone tonight is because we're gonna get into some goofy stuff real quick. So we're gonna start it on a high note instead of ending on a high note, because that's fine. Great news: the Hulk has endorsed Bernie Sanders for president. How wonderful! Mark Ruffalo has come out and endorsed Bernie Sanders. He made a really nice endorsement video for the Bernie campaign. And did both or either of you see that?
Yes, I did.
Cool. I did. I actually posted about it on Facebook, and I don't care if I call my cousin out. He's my cousin. His name is Wes. And what he posted underneath it on Facebook was that he could say goodbye to his career. I'm like,
wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's that. There's to a lot of people, even saying that you support Bernie or that you like his ideas make them think that you've lost your noodle.
Mm-hmm.
In my own family. So I wouldn't say that that's the majority. I would still, in my world, it's probably 10 to 15%. It's still
there's a definite element of the society that was successfully duped into thinking that he's a socialist.
Yeah, in the scary term.
Yeah, in the scary term.
The scary socialism.
Yeah, they think that he's going to like start some authoritarian fascist state if he's elected president.
Which is not the definition of socialism.
I was reading today, like somebody posted that he has the most anti-Semitic campaign in the history of the United States. He's Jewish. He's Jewish.
I mean, Ben Shapiro would say, well, he's a self-hating Jew, so that doesn't even really count.
Oh, awful. That's a trope. That's a trope in itself.
Yeah.
That's the definition of it.
It is. It really is. It just...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Speaking of Jewish tropes, we're not there yet. We will get there. I promise. We will get there. Yeah, so... This really is pretty awesome. There are some pretty great Hulk and Bernie memes going on right now.
Oh, I can only imagine.
Oh, they're just wonderful. Let me see if I can grab some real quick for everyone.
I've liked Mark. I've been a huge fan of Mark. I mean, I've loved his acting. He's great. He's adorable. But besides that, I mean, he's been fighting on the ground, knocking door to door in his own neighborhood because he wanted to end fracking in his own neighborhood. And he did. They banded together. They organized. It took more than 2 years of busting his ass. And he said, I have privilege. I am a white, straight male. And I'm famous, so I'm not doing a movie right now. I'm financially stable. What do I want to do? I have the privilege of doing what I want to do, and what I want to do is make this world better for my children.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes me love him. Like I'll smooch his forehead.
He's one of my favorite human beings. He's been on the front lines of the environmental fight for a decade now. He went to Standing Rock and was at camp for over a month. And protecting water protectors from the brutality. He was one of the few that was actually there, like really, really helping.
Yeah, that was AOC's,
Yeah.
That's what broke her into, thinking, okay, I need to reevaluate what I want to do because this is wrong. And I can't go back to New York knowing that this is going on and just go back to work. Like,
I love it when people tell me how AOC was a bartender, and I'm like, yeah, but she was also part of one of the most historic protests in the history of the world, and that's how she got her chops.
Hello. And who cares? That means that she's one of us.
She's one of us. Yes.
Hello.
And they hate it.
I've bartended. I've waited tables.
Me too.
She's one of us. And I think that if I would have, that's a protest that will always be, it will never be, no one will ever be able to make me think that was not worth it. No one. No one. Everybody. The vets went out in droves because it's
to protect them from
foreign or domestic.
They were there to protect them from corrupt police and corrupt federal agents, and it was historic. Like over 300 tribes came together. It was the first time in over 100 years that happened. It was quite a historic, and we beat a sitting president. We beat Obama, and Trump came in and immediately took it away from us. But we beat a sitting president. We won.
Yeah, well, I mean, he couldn't look at the American people and know that vets were getting hurt. That's what it was. The vets came in, and he's like, whoa.
Yeah, that forced his hand.
Yeah, let's end it. Get it. Stop it. Yeah, I love that Mark was there, and that just shows you who he is. I think that it doesn't ruin his career. It just makes his life
it makes it better,
more beautiful.
And if conservative Trumpers don't want to go to Marvel movies anymore, well, then that's fine. I don't have to smell them as I'm watching the Avengers.
Absolutely.
True that.
Well, they're villains. I mean, you guys have seen off topic. Well, that's kind of on topic because he plays Hulk. Trump's newest ad on his website. I don't know if you guys follow Trump, but he's the worst Thanos. Trump is Thanos.
He's the biggest genocide in the history of the universe. So let's just superimpose my face onto that guy.
Yeah. So
honestly, I have much more respect for Thanos than I do Donald Trump. At least Thanos is principled.
Yeah,
I agree with his principles,
and he got it done.
Respect that he has.
He got it done.
He did get it done. He did get it done.
Yeah, I mean, he tapped his fingers, and almost everyone was gone. Trump dreams of that.
I mean, 3.5 years, we haven't even started building the wall yet. He likes to say we have, but we haven't even started building the wall yet. Come on, dude.
He has replaced a lot of already
old shit
there for a long time.
And they had that prototype. They built the prototype.
Well, he built like 6 of them, right? 6 prototypes. They're still there, apparently.
They'll be there until like 4 presidents from now.
They'll become some sort of a federal park.
Yeah.
A monument to Trump.
That's where all the gangbangers are gonna go and do their graffiti. Like, fuck Trump.
Well, they used one of those walls because he said it can't be cut through, and they showed that they could cut through with a
sawzall from Target.
Yeah, and then
$100 saw, anybody could get it, and they cut through that bitch.
Oh man, I thought you would at least have to go to Menards. Oh man.
No, you can even rent them. So you could go rent one and cut your whole.
And not just saying down below. He's like, or just climb over it. I love how 3-4 years ago now, excuse me, Donald Trump defeated his own argument by saying, well, then we'll just make a 60-foot wall, and then there's no way they're going to get over it then. I mean, unless they grab a 65-foot ladder.
I know, it was so funny. But
they don't make those in Mexico. Of course not.
And not to mention that most people don't come over the border; they come through the entry points.
Yes, it's almost 80% within the last 10 years. I'm only going by those 10 years. 80% have come in through airports.
Yeah,
airport. Now, the borders are busy too, but not any more or any less than they have been. There have been times where it was way more, and there's been times where there was way less.
And sure, there are some communities on the southern border that do get influenced in a very negative way from it. Like, I'm very compassionate to them. I think we should find a solution to that. The solution isn't building a communist Berlin Wall along our southern border.
A wall of China right through our eminent domain. Everyone that lives there, yeah, it's awful.
I mean, just the optics. We were the country that got Gorbachev to tear down that wall, and we're going to build a wall. You know, it's like they don't understand the optics of it. It's like, you guys are stupid.
They don't read history. They don't do that. Trump can bank on one thing all the time, that whatever he says is gospel, because not one of them is going to go look it up to see if it actually checks out. No one. They just, woo! Yeah.
Yeah, that's how it's going with this whole impeachment thing. If you're one of us, you can see it clear as day. If you're one of them, you believe everything that they say, and you just repeat everything that they say, and you don't actually look at what the guy did or what the Constitution says. You know, you're supposed to be constitutionalists.
Well, you know, today when Trump was asked, after the vote came in, when Trump was asked, how do you feel about, and he says it's very nasty, all the normal rhetoric that you would expect. But then he said something that I kind of have to agree with. He said, one day there is going to be a Republican House, and I think they're going to remember that. Now, my thing is, if there is a president in office who did the things that you have done, I would want them to impeach him. So yeah, Trump, you're right.
Unless they set the standard. You know, I'm very adamant. Like, if they're going to set the standard, if they're going to give a president absolute power, then Democrats better not be little bitches and give it back to them when we take power. No, first thing we need to do, I mean, and even if you don't agree with it, and I'm not necessarily like let's ban all guns, but let's fuck with them. You know, you gave us this power. So the first thing the next president should do should just be a blanket gun ban. You know, like you was cool when Trump did it, you know, with the Muslims. Oh, you're not cool with it now, are you? You want Congress to have power now? Oh, but you didn't care. Yeah. I bet you they care then.
No,
no, absolutely. I mean, and we just sign executive orders all the time, that's fine. We'll just ban guns for 4 years, right?
Yeah,
it's fine. No, it's no big deal.
It's no biggie, you know.
I mean, no big deal. Obviously, they're setting the standard for anyone who was wondering.
You know, we could do what we could really like trigger them and do what they always accuse us of wanting to do, and just really open borders, just like open borders. You know, you guys accused us for so long. We're just gonna do it just to fuck with you now. You know.
Yeah, exactly. Let's just do it. Let's just do it, and then we'll move to the right, back to our position.
Yeah. We'll just take the first year to mess with it, and then we'll be the good Democrats and make everything right again.
It's so frustrating. I don't.
I like your ideas, though.
I think that all three branches should have exactly how it's set right now. Yeah, if we're constitutional, if we're a people of laws, then if you don't like them, you don't just do something else. You change.
And traditionally, the Republicans are the party that are for that. They're for the equal power, and they're for states' rights. Now, all of a sudden, they're against states' rights because, you know, marijuana is bad, and they're not for equal power anymore. They're not for the traditions of the Senate.
Trump can pull that federal card. Yeah. They don't want him to not be able to do that.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Hypocrisy at its.
I don't see how they survive it. Like, you know, eventually their base has to smarten up a little bit. There's the internet now, so eventually they'll start reading it.
Echo chambers.
Yeah. So I'm going to try to jump us back on topic a little bit real quick, because we do tend to go off on rabbit trails, and I usually don't mind, but we have like 5 or 6 topics tonight, so I got to cut the rabbit trails short. Often. Excuse me. So this is still a burning part of the topic. Well, first, hold on. I did promise you guys some memes here real quick. So I will give that to you. Let me screen share. All right. Here we go. Here's a Bernie Hulk meme. It's pretty fantastic. I would vote that man in.
I love it.
It's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And then here's another one. I really love this one. I just want someone to look at me the way Mark Ruffalo looks at Bernie Sanders.
That is good. That's awesome.
I love this right here. And it's so true. I just want someone who looks at me that way. So, okay.
Admiration and love and respect. Yeah. So much was in that. So
much. It's beautiful. I fucking love it. Okay. Excuse me. That said, there was another Bernie story that I wanted to try to fill in here real quick. Does everyone remember it was about 2 or 3 months ago. There was a veteran that came to one of Bernie's campaign rallies, and this guy was talking about his medical bills and how his TRICARE was running out. You guys remember? Well, this man came to another Bernie event, and he had some things to say and to thank Bernie for, and I thought it was really wonderful.
Cry, Mac.
I know it like made me cry too. But if you guys don't mind, it's about 3 minutes. Maybe I won't share the whole thing, but do you guys want to like go ahead and show everyone?
I got my tissue.
Yes, everyone, go ahead and grab your tissues real quick. This is definitely a tearjerker. But if you're not familiar with Bernie, or like you don't follow him a whole lot, one, you will not have like heard of this story at all because for some reason no one fucking covered this. And two,
why would
they? Why would they? It's positive.
Not any other candidate is going to do this or be this person. And so if they show this sets a precedent that Biden tells people they don't agree with him to go vote for Trump, even though they're Democrats. Like why would they? It's beautiful. I mean, my throat gets all choked up. Yes, please.
Biden would tell him that if he's not sucking his wife's fingers.
Oh, the finger sucking. All right. So I'm going to start this up. We can check it out, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about it. Like I said, it's 3 minutes long. So give me just a second here. I'll screen share again. And here we go. You see us there on the side.
Uh-oh.
All right, so there's that. I'm only a little bit sorry for everyone that I made cry. But yeah, it really is a beautiful video. It's really a really awesome story that they shared, and I'm glad that they revisited it, because I've been wondering what happened with John since that, because I remember hearing about it that first day. So one thing that I want to point out that I think is really important is that this veteran, John, it's really sad not only that he has to deal with his insurance company and like his TRICARE to get his like I'm sorry, to get his hospital bills paid. He's dealing with a serious illness. He has too much going on. He is a veteran. He put his life on the line for us to live our lives the way that we do today.
He did over 20 years in the military.
He did over 20 years?
Over 20 years in the military.
Over 20 years.
And we should never... bomber jacket.
Yeah. He definitely earned more than the bomber jacket.
Well,
right.
That's the whole problem.
Right.
You know, the whole reason this was a thing was because he saw his family struggling. He can't afford anything, and his insurance kicked him off. So the only way to make sure his family could survive was to kill himself, was for insurance money. And he said that out loud to Bernie years ago. And Bernie said what he needed to say there in front of the live people. But that wasn't the end of it. Bernie made sure I got his phone number. They talk on the phone all the time. And for 3 years, Bernie made sure that hotels and transportation were taken care of so this guy could go before Congress and make sure that, he's fucking taken care of. He served this guy. I can't. A veteran should never need a roof over their head, food in their tummy, or medicine. Like, bare minimum, people. Bare minimum. It sickens me.
And that's something that most of the public agrees with. Right. Whether you're on the left or the right, we should take care of our veterans. Right? At least at face value, we usually agree on that. But it's sad that we don't actually do it. And as I was saying, it's not only so sad that he has to deal with all of that fucking stress after what he's gone through just serving our country, and whether it was an honorable way or a dishonorable way that our government told him to do, whichever way it is, he served our country, and he shouldn't have to go to maybe the only politician he feels like he can trust and the condition that he is in to try to get attention. And I'm not saying that in a bad way, but to try to make his voice be heard. He shouldn't have to go to one fucking politician,
right,
and say, I don't have a plan. I just need someone to hear what's going on. No, my only plan is to kill myself. So I'm just trying to let someone fucking know, because no one will fucking listen. And it's disgusting. But what isn't disgusting is how Bernie handled it. And it wasn't just him who handled it. Other people, I think he said senators from his own state, right, they worked with him and they got it solved. And that's what the government's supposed to do. That's what our congressmen, that's what our senators are supposed to do. They're supposed to help the people, right? This is a prime example of what his fucking job is. And Bernie does it. AOC does it. Right. Tulsi does it.
And the thing is, Bernie would have never brought that up. Like, he just would have never bragged about it. The only reason we know is because this guy came back, made sure he was on Bernie's tour, and said with the cameras rolling, hey, I'm back and I want to give this to you for all that you've done. And of course, Bernie said, no, you keep it. You earned it.
He never keeps a gift like that.
No, and he doesn't
I've seen multiple things.
If the people, like my cousin Wes, if the people that didn't like him, that say that they don't like him, knew all of the black and white photos of him being handcuffed and, for protesting against racism during the civil rights.
Fake news. Fake news.
Yeah, he's not just one of us, but he's never faltered. There's been a few things that he's voted on that I didn't agree with. Who cares? I did shit that my mom doesn't agree with, and I wish I didn't do. I don't judge somebody by that. I judge them on what his actions are. And his actions are, since his college years, which is when he first became an adult on his own, he's been making decisions that benefit people that aren't him, that benefit the most needed, the people that need the most in the society. And I think that is beautiful. And we've never had a president like him.
He's been taking the same train from Vermont to DC for 40 years now. Remarkably consistent. I'm the same way. Like, there's things that Bernie policy positions that I'm not for. What I am for is consistency and an overall empathy. And he's shown that throughout his entire career. The thing that I find funny is because he never takes anything. Like, if you try to give him a gift like that, especially, but the right will lie. Like, there was this one time somebody tried to give like Bernie Sanders a Lamborghini, and he took it for a test drive. And so those people took pictures of him in this Lamborghini taking it for a test drive. And then he's like, I'm not taking this, I'm Bernie Sanders. I can't, for one, I don't take gifts. For two, I'm not going to be driving around in a Lamborghini.
What do you do?
But they said he took it, like, oh, Bernie Sanders has this Lamborghini, who's for the people now. Like, he made a couple $1 million off of his book, and they try to paint him as this ultra rich dude. No. Yeah. He had a best-selling book. You like capitalism. Now you're against capitalism? Like, what the hell?
I know. They have nothing, though. They can't criticize his policies for the most part. They can't criticize his actions or why he does things, or even argue on the merits. So they have to go after optics.
Yeah.
He looks crazy. He doesn't brush his hair. His suits are right off the rack.
Or they just don't talk about him. Everybody says CNN's like the liberal media, MSNBC is the liberal media. Like, if MSNBC mentions Bernie, it's in a negative way. The only person that doesn't is Rachel Maddow. She's the only one.
MSNBC is funded by Raytheon and, bomb makers. They have no desire to help Bernie.
Yeah, I hate it when they say that MSNBC is the far left. I'm TYT here, yo.
or even further. Like, there's so much.
Yeah, that's so small. Like, people give me shit for watching TYT. I'm like, I could be so farther left watching some outright communist.
No, I can too. I think that when I hear an idea and I look into it, I judge it by its merits. I don't care what it's called. And I think that's a huge problem in this country. You hear the word social anything and it's bad. Welfare's okay, but social programs aren't.
Social Security is the bane on this country, and yet it's one of the most popular programs we have.
Yep, Medicare. Right, Medicare.
Yeah, I'm the same. I like to blow people's mind because I'll latch on to right position, like positions from the right that I like, and I'll use those first, just so you can't say that I don't have any right leanings. No, I'm fair. If you come up with an idea, I'm going to listen to it. Yep. The problem is the right doesn't. We have all these good ideas, and they just call it socialism.
Because we care. Mac and I sent the tweet to him. I got a message from somebody who wants to debate me on humanism because he thinks that humanism would bring people who would take advantage of it. You're probably right. And I'm one of those people that if I hear someone say we can't have college for all because rich kids will go there. Okay, that's dumb. If everybody gets it, it can't be torn apart so easy. Everybody gets Social Security. Everybody. It doesn't matter.
Public college. We're talking public college and maybe state university at most.
Right.
How many rich kids are really going to state university? I mean, they're all going.
And if they do, good. Like, I think that a public school, the whole purpose of public school being paid for by our taxes and the federal government coming in and saying you cannot segregate children. The whole point of that was socioeconomically mixing wealthy kids with poorer kids, middle class kids, all different classes together, you know, doing recess, doing lunch, learning together. It helps when they grow up.
Yeah.
You know, if they become a hedge fund manager or whatever, their father hands down to them, they will have a harder time in theory doing something that would crush somebody if they went to school with those somebodies. And I agree.
Yeah, I agree too. And it seems like, you know, we almost got there. Like we segregated everybody, and for a while it does seem like that was happening. But slowly over the years, they've been able to kind of twist the system, and now you have public, you know, charter schools for the rich, and then and the
Charter
public schools
that are able to teach things like Bible class.
Yeah, and now like you have Betsy DeVos, you know, she's head of the Department of Education, and quite literally she's trying to do nationally what she did here in Michigan, which is allocate state or national money to charter schools and take it away from the public schools.
Yep, I've read all about it. We should do a whole show on education.
Yeah, and she's all of his people.
She's a villain. If you could imagine a female comic book villain that would take away education, and it's her.
but they will demonize Bernie Sanders, right? Like they'll demonize Bernie Sanders, but they have Betsy DeVos, you know. It's like
exactly. And she has
but we
and I don't like to
Hulk.
People.
Yeah, and we have the Hulk now. They should be scared.
Well, we should.
What we really need is Leo. I mean, come on, Leo. Just come. Just endorse Bernie and tour with him, and do some good for the country, Leo.
I think so too. I actually like Leo.
He's probably my favorite. I mean, I grew up Basketball Diaries. You know.
I think that.
What's eating Gilbert Grapes like the greatest movie of all time?
All
right. So I'm going to move on to the next topic real quick. And this one will probably be relatively quick. Just because, so you guys couldn't hear audio for the last clip I shared, or you could?
I couldn't, but
I couldn't, but the audience did, I think.
I think so. Nobody said anything down here, but I couldn't hear anything. I even turned it up to see if I could.
Okay.
I can never make Zoom work for my guests, so like I make them like watch it on a separate device.
Did you guys hear the audio from the last clip? Let me know real quick before we move on, and then
I'm fairly certain
I'll either talk over it, or I'll be quiet. So it was on a choppy loop for me. Okay, cool. All right, no audio. Fair enough. All right, then I'll just mostly talk. And I'll give you like a small clip of it so you can see who I'm talking about. So War on Christmas. The War Before Christmas and all through the house. So Rick Wiles, let me tell you who this is real quick. He is an American non-denominational senior pastor at the Flowing Streams Church in Vero Beach, Florida. He's a radio host and pundit. He's the founder of True News, of the True News. It's a website that promotes racist, Islamophobic, and anti-Semitic conspiracy theories. And if you think I'm being a little too harsh, I actually found that exactly on Google from Wikipedia. It says he is the founder of True News, a website that promotes racist, Islamophobic, and anti-Semitic conspiracy theories. And I wish I could just show you the whole clip, but let me link it to you guys so you can go watch it after the show. I'll give it to you now real quick.
Give it to me,
Maggie. Oh, okay. And there it is. Now you have it. You got it, Christy. All right, so there's the link. It's pretty fucking nuts. That's the link. It says that's actually from Secular Talk. So if you go 45 seconds in, the clip starts. And I'm gonna go ahead and share it just a little bit while I chat. So let me mute it myself. So what he's saying here is this is how the Jews work. And he's talking about the impeachment proceedings. So he's saying he's literally saying this is a Jew coup. And we all have to wake up, people, because this is how the Jews work. And if we don't wake up, they're going to come after. They're not just going after Donald Trump. They're coming after us. They're coming after the Church of Jesus Christ. And if we don't do something, well, we've seen what happens in the past. Then this is exactly what they do before they start killing Christians. And at that point, like Kyle Kalinske, I was like, wait, what? What the fuck's going on? What is he talking about? Because he gets really wild really fast. And he didn't stop there. He even went as far as to say, like, look, our servicemen and women are going to have to choose a side, just like they did back in the 1800s, like the North and the South. But this time it's going to be the left and the right. And I'm just sitting there like, holy shit, this guy's real. He's really saying, he's like, there's going to be a civil war, and it's probably going to happen before Christmas. And how sad is that? And it's all because of this Jew coup. Mm-hmm. And I had to share it with you guys.
History is now primetime television. Yeah.
So if it is a Jew coup, I really hope it is, because that means the senators are going to remove the fucker, right?
Yeah, it's.
I mean, come on, Jewish folks, come through for us. Just do this one thing. Just let them be right once.
Do this. Good. With your Jew powers combined, save us from Trump, please.
I mean, isn't it like kind of ridiculous? I do understand, like, most American Jewish people do vote Democratic, although I think like Trump has made some inroads with that community, honestly, because he's been like the most pro-Israel president we've ever had. Like, why would? I mean, it doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah, he's pro-Israel's right-wing government. He's not.
Yeah. I think we're probably all in agreement. Like, he is a secret white supremacist and hates Jews.
We have
my opinion,
data
guys.
To back that up.
I'm not calling Trump a Nazi. I'm just saying I think he is.
We have his apartment. We have data showing he would not let Black and brown people rent in his apartment. I mean, we know for a fact.
I think we have him on tape. It might be his dad, but we have one of them on tape saying the N-word about his Black tenants.
His dad.
Yep, right. Yeah, was it his dad?
Yep.
Right. So I would like to make a distinction here. And I think it's very important, but it's not.
Yeah, I don't really think he's a Nazi.
It's not really that important. But I do want to say, not all racists are Nazis. But all Nazis are racist.
Okay,
Yeah.
hold on. I want to clarify something.
Okay.
We do have our very own Christian troll in the chat. Give yourselves a pat.
I've been reading them. Yeah,
it's fun. Nobody ban him. It's fun. Keep him. Play. It's fun.
I almost started, typing back at him. I'm like, I'm not going to get triggered.
I see him say Trump has the Jew vote, no question. And I want to push back on that real quick, because I dare you to show me a citation.
Yeah.
Because 72.7% of Jewish peoples in America who are able to vote against Trump every single election. So bring that on.
Yeah, I granted that he made some inroads, but no, he ain't got the vote.
Right.
At all. He doesn't have Jewish vote. He doesn't have the Spanish vote. He doesn't have the gay vote.
They're trying to say he's got the Black vote now because of, Candace Owens. And I'm like...
Candace Owens isn't Black.
Yes.
She is Black. She is Black.
No, she's not.
She's what they used to call her.
I'm more Black than Candace Owens. Okay?
It's a totally racist word that I just used.
Yeah,
I hate that word. Why did I just use that word?
Yeah, it's Trump has like the Israeli support.
Yes.
But like Republicans have
the conservative Jewish vote.
And also like the neoliberals. But
I don't know.
They have more support than Bernie does. So, they have some of it.
Well, the thing with Bernie though is it's really hard to know exactly how much support he has.
Because we don't get truthful.
They don't ask the right poll questions, and like I honestly think that there's going to be a lot of conservatives that are going to think that Bernie's going to actually like blow up the government like they wanted Trump to do, and might actually say they won't vote for him, but it'll be that Trump effect. They'll go to the polls and vote for Bernie.
Well, Bernie is the only one that can take a huge chunk of Trump voters from Trump, because they would have voted for him, but Hillary got the candidacy. And so for being pissed off, they voted the other way. They're right back. They're ready to do this. They want that they want the working people to see and feel and be a part of a change.
I do admit it's possible I have my blinders on, but I tend to agree with Kyle Kalinske when he says that if you actually put a real lefty out there, if you put a real progressive out there, people are tired of the corporate Dems. People are tired of having a Republican choice or a Republican light choice. We need to give them a real left choice and see where we fall.
Yeah, no kidding. No, I definitely agree. Kyle Kalinsky's a powerhouse.
Yeah, he's probably one of my favorites.
Yeah, I'm really glad we have him, Cenk Uygur, Jimmy Dore.
Humanist Report.
My top 5.
I'm really enjoying Bo of the Fifth Column, and he's kind of where I got a good chunk of my info for this next topic, actually. So we'll go ahead and move on to the next topic, which is pro-life and beyond. And this kind of really flows right into it, because this last topic is very religiously motivated, right? Pretty obvious. This guy's he's uber Christian. He's a senior pastor, and he hates the Jews because only one religion can rule them all. But
one ring.
Oh, the same thing. So the thing here, pro-life and beyond, is I named it this because of the progression I'm going to go through. It's going to be real fast. We're going to just fucking take off from conception to outer space. So if you guys haven't heard, there's an Ohio bill that is going through legislation right now. And it's pretty crazy. If you haven't heard, the biggest issue with this bill is that before, I guess I can't even say like before, if a woman has an ectopic pregnancy, which is a pregnancy where the egg is fertilized in like the fallopian tube, right? Absolutely. So, which is not good. That can most certainly kill the woman, and there's nothing you can do about it. Like, it doesn't just work its way out. It doesn't well, maybe it can grow on the fallopian tube. No, let's wait and find out. We find out is let's just wait until she's dead, and then and then we'll call it. Just because it's never worked out before doesn't mean it won't work out this time. So
it's dangerous.
It is super dangerous. It's incredibly dangerous.
Yeah, you have to have immediate surgery to have it removed.
Yeah,
in order to survive.
Yeah, because your fallopian tubes are small and they don't expand, so it needs to be done very, very quickly. So, excuse me, this was introduced in November, and amongst other things, because this bill is it's a Republican wet dream. It's a religious religious right. Sorry for you to slip there. Yeah, wet dream. So it requires doctors. I will repeat, it requires doctors to attempt to reimplant an ectopic pregnancy into a woman's uterus or face charges of abortion murder, which may be punishable by life in prison.
Right.
But I've also heard that it actually calls for the death penalty.
Right.
If you don't attempt to do
that's what they would like.
What is, in quotations, medically impossible.
Right. It does not exist. The surgery
you can't do this.
Does not exist. And
Right.
we know this because there are women who have this type of pregnancy happen, end up in lots of pain, go to the hospital, and they've been trying to get pregnant, and they don't want to end it. They don't. But that's not an option. It's get it out or die. You think that if we could, that there wouldn't be women doing this all the time that are trying to get pregnant?
Yeah.
Magical thinkers, all the way. All the way. Yeah. Do it or else.
I don't get their logic.
There is no logic on this one.
Yeah.
It's just women are getting away with not having. We need them to carry that baby, even if
Yeah,
and if the surgery doesn't exist, well, you better figure it out or you're going to jail.
Well, look, you don't have to figure it out. We already have it figured out for you. You just have to try.
You just have to believe.
You just have to believe. So, yeah, this is Nuck and Futz, right? So
yeah, this whole story.
I just want to point out, I don't know if we have that in the budget, right? To do
Who's gonna pay for it?
This bullshit surgery for absolutely no reason except to make some right-wingers feel better because they're snowflakes. And then close them back up and be like, sorry, couldn't do it. I guess we accidentally aborted it. So, guess we could have done that without cutting you open.
Oh, gosh.
But sorry, I had to try.
Jesus, put that back there.
You'll be off of work for 6 weeks recovering from this bullshit surgery. I hope the government compensates you and the taxpayers compensate you for this time off that you need to have because of this
you'll be in jail waiting
nature. Because God didn't care enough about you to make sure this was a viable pregnancy.
Yeah, and maybe this has just never been done before. Like, it's impossible. You cannot do it. Our government is supposed to have some intelligence and try to be doing the right thing, not impossible things because of a hot button issue, because you think that whatever's murder.
Well, a few of the framers of this are young earth creationists, so they believe that impossible things are reality. So, I mean, it just goes to show it's so important that people are informed, that they pay attention, and that they go and vote. Because I would like the people that represent us to actually be smarter than me. It's not much I want my president to be smarter than me. I want people that are making legislative decisions, that are writing laws that we all have to follow. I want them to know basic science, basic biology, basic, and understand that if you want to make a law that has to do with a scientific procedure, a medical procedure, that you go talk to the professionals in that field.
Talk to the professionals.
And then write your laws. And that
don't talk about who's
they didn't even think to do that. They said, this is what we want. Women should be punished. Everyone, Jesus put the baby there, make it possible. And they wrote it and they signed it and they sent it on.
I mean, I think we need to move Ohio down below the Mason-Dixon line where they belong.
Where they belong?
They're too close to me, and they're weird, and I don't like it.
Oh, man.
Look, yeah. All right, so I kind of agree with a lot of that.
Yeah, I'm in Florida.
Also,
I can't say anything.
I'm stuck here. I don't want to go there.
Are you in Ohio?
I am in Ohio.
Oh, shit. I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry, too. That's another reason why I brought it up tonight, because I am very ashamed of my state. I'm very ashamed of what Mark DeWine or whatever his name is.
It's bananas.
It's
they just keep going farther right. I was listening to right-wing radio today, and they were like, they had this conspiracy theory that blue states were trying to tax conservatives out of their state. And I was just laughing about it, but it's funny because Ohio used to be more purple, and they seem to be going farther and farther red, and it's just crazier and crazier down there.
It did, but think about when it did. Think about when Ohio was purple or even blue. It had manufacturing jobs everywhere and unions everywhere. This country, as in December 6th, 2019, has less than 11% union workers. Yeah. Less than 11% in the whole nation.
Yeah, there's been a war on unions, and the Republicans have pretty much won it.
Yeah, unfortunately, they vote. They vote every time. Rain, sleet, or snow.
The last company, like major corporation I worked for, they had a no union rule. Like if you even mentioned the union, fired on the spot.
I'm in Florida. That's how it is here. This is a right to work state. And there are propaganda videos that they play if you work for Walmart. There's propaganda videos if you work for McDonald's, for any of them. It's not going to happen here in this state.
No.
No. Yeah, Mac and I together, Ohio and Florida.
I can almost understand Mac because, you do have Ohio State. So, come on. I'm a Michigan guy. I had to throw my jab there.
That's where we disagree. I don't even watch sports, but
you got the best football team in the world. They could probably win the Super Bowl.
I hope so.
I know nothing about the Chinese language you're speaking right now.
I know that it will make my dad happy, and I like when he's happy. All right, so so there's that. There's that little nugget of fuck but Ohio.
I couldn't believe it when I first heard it. I'm like, what?
Right? So, what Bo of the Fifth Column pointed out, which when he did his 6-minute segment for this topic, it was really good. He really laid out the argument very, very well. He pointed out, rightfully so, that there's 1.5 million people, I think he said, that are food insecure in Ohio. And 500,000 of those people are children. So, one, should we have, and he didn't say this part, one, should we have more children then in Ohio? Should we push for more children? I'm not for restricting people from having kids, but should we make sure everyone has every baby possible?
I don't know. I think there should be a limit at 8.
That's pretty reasonable.
No more after 8,
right?
Is it 9 a basketball team? 9 is a basketball team, right?
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
You don't need any more. Wow.
Yeah. And yes, Nacha, we're still on that. Sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. And I completely lost it. I'm so sorry. Well,
it's my fault.
Okay. So there were 21 I think Congress people, whoever were voting on it, and for Congress in Ohio. There were 21 out of the 54, I think. I forget what he said. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but it's almost half of the people who had a chance to prop up this bill in Ohio, put their names on it. And you could say that, okay, maybe they read it and they were like, oh, well, yeah, we definitely support this, but it has the death penalty. That's pretty awful. Or maybe they didn't read it.
Probably.
But again, it has the death penalty. And again, Bo said, that's just fucking evil.
These are your leaders. These are your leaders.
Yeah.
And they're not reading the laws that they're putting their names on.
It's their job.
Or they are.
Their job. And they have staffs to help them.
Yeah.
So my mind kind of went to, and my mind doesn't usually go here. This is not the route that I usually take. But when I was listening to this, I'm just like, okay, I want to fucking sue them for this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we could sue the state, because this is just like, seeing how stupid this is, how much they don't even, how incompetent it is, and how religiously driven this is obviously is. We should be able to sue. Like, you need to keep religion out of politics.
You could probably have. I mean, why don't you contact FFRS?
I was thinking about it.
I mean, I'll help you write something up, and I'll get everyone in the community to sign it. I don't have to be in Ohio to not agree with it.
It almost seems like if you're not reading legislation that could possibly, put the death penalty in your state, that might be negligence and, I don't know, impeachment. I think I don't know what the process is for impeaching like state senators, but like if you're not doing your damn job, maybe a referendum to vote their asses. I don't know like what we could do, but it seems like that's just complete negligence.
Yep.
To not at least read the bill that has the death penalty in it.
Yep.
Yeah. And even if they did, so go ahead.
That just shows you the class difference. They whether they see death penalty or not, it's not for them. These
You're
laws
not
are
pro-life.
not for them.
You're not pro-life.
Even if it's one of their daughters, one of their daughters needs an abortion. Well, it's not a big deal. They're the senator's daughter. Keep it under, and we'll can afford to send her to it. It doesn't apply to them. So it doesn't matter if it says death penalty. That's for you guys. I'm up here. That's for you guys. So, I mean, if they're, maybe I'm wrong. I don't feel that I am. I feel that they feel it doesn't matter. These are laws for those people. I'm a ruler. I'm up here. I'm part of the ruling class. And if my loved ones get in trouble, well, I have connections, and it doesn't apply to us. It only applies to you guys. And
I think they definitely have that mentality.
Yeah.
It's scary. If we are noticing it, that means that other people are noticing it. We don't live in a vacuum. That means people all over this country are noticing it. And I think that if we were to, get a Bernie Sanders president, if we were to get somebody who maybe even if we were to get a president that cared about policy and human rights, just those two things, and getting money out of politics, our whole country could change. And if people like us are thinking, these assholes aren't even reading this bill that says that we can get killed if we don't have a surgery that doesn't exist. Do you hear this?
Yeah. It's at least the doctors who might get the death penalty. I'm not sure if it's the woman. I think it's the doctor.
The surgery doesn't exist.
Right. Yeah.
The vote could be a death penalty. And
the next step, even if it is like just the doctors, the next step would be the woman, because that's their ultimate goal, to make it murder and to hold the woman responsible for that murder.
I mean, Ann Coulter, which I think is a snake, she agrees with her father, her father was a huge, women should have never earned the right to vote. She is a woman in her 40s, a conservative woman, who agrees that women should have never earned the right to vote. And there are many people in our government today that would love for that to be. If women could be like, there's, you pay a dowry and you buy the wife, and she's your property. You can divorce her, but she can't divorce you. They don't get to vote. You got to obey and make a sandwich.
Yeah.
Sandwiches are good.
To women like that, I would say, well, then shut up.
Here, doesn't the good book say you
only women like that?
I'm fairly certain Ann Coulter is like a clone or a robot or something. She's not like real.
Yeah.
I wouldn't hurt her feelings anyway.
She's awfully long. She's
kidding.
really abnormally not human long.
I saw an interview with her on Bill Maher like a long time ago, because they used to have it back and forth, and her arms are like super long. Like
long,
Bill was like 10 feet away, and she was like tickling his nose, and
like the Incredible, like the mom that can just
spin
She doesn't hate anybody, my girlfriend. But Ann Coulter, she's like, I'll just punch her.
Yeah.
I just have to stand her. And she would never do that, but that's how she feels about her.
No, I understand that rage.
Like, oh.
So
that's how I feel about Hannity.
Oh, yes. Jesus. No, we're not going to Hannity. We're not going to Hannity.
I'm sorry, I said the bad word. Let's go to our safe place.
Don't say the trigger word. Don't say the trigger word. Okay. So I'm going to link another video to both of the fifth column. If you go to 3 minutes, 30 seconds from the link I just posted, that will take you to the names of those 21 congressmen who signed on to that bill.
Yes.
He doesn't have the numbers. I was going to get those ready before the show, but I just did not have time. So I was just going to just let those names play out. So we had them, but we don't have the audio.
If
so
people want me to, say yes in the chat, and I will go to it, and I will write them all down, and I will go underneath this video, and I will type them all if people want me to.
Everyone type yes, just like
yes.
Like that.
For you, Mac, I will.
With the numbers to their office.
Yes.
Yes.
Easy to find.
I need to make some calls.
Type in name and number and question mark.
And that's not harassment. That's what you're supposed to do.
No, that's their job.
They are we're their boss.
They're getting paid for it. So that said, now for the fun stuff. Hold on, I have to respond to the chat real quick. There you go, Sergi. All right. So we have these pro-lifers, right? We have the right wing who's really pushing legislation like this in Alabama, in Ohio, in other states, and in other ways, right? It's not just the abortion bills. They're also Trump, if you didn't hear, because of the impeachment proceedings and just like Ukraine Gate and everything else that, the media has to throw at us. Maybe you didn't hear that they just changed the requirements to be able to get SNAP benefits. So a long story short, that means nearly 700,000 people are going to be booted off SNAP benefits. And it's probably fine because not one of those 700,000 people actually needed it. I'm sure not a single one. There's no kids that are going hungry ever. Anyways, so 1, 2, we're trying to pass right now in Congress. I think AOC is really taking the lead on this, where she's really trying to get paid family leave.
Yeah,
because
important.
Yeah, because the left and the right agree that family values are important.
Hello.
Right? We agree on that.
I agree. I am for family values. Woman and a woman, 2 mommies, 2 daddies, man and a wife, a grandma, an aunt, and family values. They should be taken care of. Yeah.
Exactly.
100%.
Exactly. So, they're trying to get paid family leave because we are the only fucking country, developed country, who doesn't give any paid family leave by law. By law. It's important to add in. And I have a graphic post on my phone, but it doesn't matter. We have 0. We're the only one who has a goose egg down there at the bottom. Excuse me. So, we may actually be making some headway on it, which is strange. Republicans are talking about, hey, you know what? If you want that paid family leave, you can have it.
I think AOC is good at using their vocabulary and throwing it back at them.
Yeah,
she's really good at that. And if she's able to continue this family values trip, we'll just keep traveling behind her. Just let her blaze that trail for us.
That would be awesome. Now, if she was the one who was at the forefront, things would work out better. But the catch for this, let me pull my microphone up to my face, is you guys can have that. while we get Space Force. We're going to add a 6th branch to our military, and you guys can have your paid family leave. We'll take care of it. And at first I was just like, you know what? That could be okay. We're taking a win. Hold on a second.
Yeah.
What's the discrepancy here? Like it took about 5 seconds. Like I admit it took me 5 seconds. I'm sorry, everyone. But
no, space is
you
cool.
should think about it. Yeah, space is fucking cool.
Space is rad.
But as again, Kyle Kalinske said,
space not rad.
Yeah, we don't need that.
No, and we have treaties that we signed. Like all countries.
It's illegal. It's illegal.
It's illegal.
It's very illegal.
Yeah, that'd be a stomping on it.
Not to mention we don't have the technology for a Space Force.
Yeah, we don't.
It's more surgeries that don't exist. It's just trillions in the sky of surgeries that don't exist.
Like he literally thinks that we'll be like Battlestar Galactica tomorrow. Like, no, you're talking like it's gonna take 100 years.
He knows more about space than anyone. Believe
than anyone. Even Neil deGrasse Tyson. Actually, Neil deGrasse Tyson goes to him. Did you know that for space facts?
I did.
That's why his tweets are kind of silly sometimes. But
I almost got really.
Bill Nye the Science Guy as well. Yep, they called Trump. Well, Trump.
What were you gonna say, Naka? Now I want to know.
I was gonna say, well, you know, they probably got the same, you know, sexual harassment teacher.
Oh,
so they got that whole sexual harassment thing in common.
So listen, people, consent.
And then I'm like, man, I
consent.
Neil was one of my heroes. I should say that, but he's a sexual harasser. Fuck him.
Unfortunately, many people who get power and take advantage of it. Power and immense wealth are dangerous things for me. I mean, I don't know how I would like to think that I would do tons of good with it, but it's been known to turn people to make them think that they deserve more.
There is one person that's done a ton of good with their power, and that's Bernie Sanders. People should look at him.
Oh yeah, that guy.
You know, he's kind of weird like that. Not many people actually do good shit with power.
Yeah, and he's incredibly consistent. But we won't fall back on Bernie. We're not going to fall back on Bernie. Because we still have 2 more topics. But again, I just want to point out that all of this happened within a week. Or like all of this is going on currently, right? We have a lot of fucking issues going on in the United States. We have how many homeless vets right now? We just all agreed, I hope, that we should take care of our vets. If we don't, we need a Medicare for all plan. I don't know what I was going to say. Like, if we don't get a Medicare for all plan, we need some kind of fucking single payer health plan, right? Because we need to
replace the infrastructure of this country. Like,
we need
$10 trillion at least.
At least, yeah, right. No, there's so many things that we can spend money on here. We should be cutting the military budget. We should be slicing it in half to just be 100%. The strongest military in the world. That'd be fine.
Yeah, and if we cut it by 50%, we'd still be the strongest. But I mean, barely, but we'd be the strongest. You know.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
I don't think that one nation should have that much power, no matter who they are.
Yeah.
And you know, I know that I found these numbers today, confirmed them today, and then fact checked them. America has over 800 bases on the globe. Over 800 bases on the globe. How many countries are there? Over 200, right? If you take America out of the equation and you add up all the other nations' military bases, 70.
Yeah.
Collectively. That's absurd. There's no reason for that unless you want to control and have an empire. And there's no such thing as a moral empire. Ever. There never has been. There never will be.
The last I checked, I'm sure the numbers might be different now. It was a couple of years ago when I checked. There were like 12 aircraft carriers in the world.
Yeah.
We own like 8 of them, and they're like billions upon billions of dollars a piece. You know, and we own 8 of them. The rest of the world own 3. It might be different now, but the last time I checked, that's how it was.
It's a military base on water with an airport and everything. I mean, they're badass. I think
they're impressive. There's no doubt about it. Yeah.
I want to go
nuclear weapons,
climb all over everything, but I don't want to kill people with it.
Yeah,
and that's what they're made for. And we need.
You know, I'm just saying, like, if the rest of the world has 3 and we got 8, we might be able to cut that down and buy some homeless people some food.
I agree, but we say we're using them to help, you know, the world. That's why we need that many, but we're not.
No,
we're not.
We're using it to dominate the world.
Bombing brown and black countries. We're using them for the resources. We're
everywhere. Our presence is everywhere. We are,
and not wanted anywhere. While reading about this today, I was reading about bases where there are an active group of people all the time protesting. You know, not like that happens. Like in Okinawa, there was that 12-year-old that got raped by 3 U.S. military men. Not just when something like that happens, but all the time. In Okinawa, we have 8 military bases on the island of Japan. Japan doesn't want us there. None of them want us there. But we're still there, and they don't have a say because we told them once they were bad 100 years ago that they're not allowed to have a military. We'll be your military, and have never let them have a say since.
And like we know, like, so there's no technology, there's no like spaceships for Space Force. You know, like you're not gonna have the mothership up there. So like so you're willing to give us paid leave and give us that money, and in return you want what, equal money for the Space Force? What are you actually planning on doing with this money? That's what I want.
Weapons.
Yeah, I mean that's what I want to know. Like, because you're not gonna have a Space Force. I mean that's ridiculous.
Weapons in space. It'll be like pigs in outer space. You guys remember that from the Muppet Show?
Didn't we try that? Like, didn't like Russia totally kick our ass on the Star Wars thing? And,
you know, like, I love you, Mac.
Sorry, Mac.
No, you're good.
I didn't mean to cut you off.
The Muppet Show is the best. I don't know if you guys have never seen Jim Henson's Muppet Show.
I grew up on that.
Not a proper.
I didn't get into it as much as like a lot of my friends did.
You're a little bit younger.
I do appreciate it.
I mean, when I was little, like 7 and 8, it was on every Friday night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so old. Probably not.
No, I was definitely a Muppet Show kid. I think that makes me old.
All right. No, it's the whole thing. It's just as dumb as surgeries that don't exist.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And they're supposed to be like the party of the family values, right? And they're like, yeah, we'll give you families some paid leave if you give us our imaginary military in space.
But the thing is if you want to be, let's just be super adult about it. The Navy has an Air Force. The Air Force has an Air Force. The Army has an Air Force. And all of them have space departments. We already have that. And we're already, those programs are already needing funding for not the weapons and the war part, but for science part. They don't get it.
Yeah, and
so
I mean,
they definitely wouldn't get it if we went and had a space force.
I mean, haven't we like drastically cut the money for NASA?
Mm-hmm.
You know, so like let's take the money from the people trying to explore space and create another thing that's going to explore space. Oh, it just doesn't make any sense.
Not only that, one of the things that they cut from NASA is they're not allowed to like look at us so much anymore. They're not allowed to track the weather, like, or they're not allowed to do climate science.
Yeah,
they're not allowed to fucking do.
That's a Trump
which
thing.
is fucking atrocious, right? It's fucking stupid.
Well, Trump.
Yeah, they were the ones tracking it. You know, that's where science
we only want to know about planets.
Well, no, Trump took out scientific words. They're not allowed.
Yeah.
Climate change isn't allowed. Scientific is not allowed. Data. There's like dumb things that you need to have a report. They're not allowed.
Thank you, Badgie, the boss.
I don't understand how one human can say those words aren't allowed. Nobody's allowed to use them.
Yeah. and how other humans are like, yeah, those words aren't allowed. They don't exist anymore. Like,
Look, what would you rather have, me or the dictator? Bernie Sanders. He would dictate. He would tell you you're not allowed to use words like Christmas. Self-hating Jew.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, like it was like banned, and Trump made it to where we could say it again. So we're just gonna go back to where we were.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Sorry,
I'm like an atheist, and I say Merry Christmas to everybody.
So do I. I usually start with Happy Holidays.
Love Christmas.
Yeah.
Come on.
She is gay for Christmas.
Yes, I love Christmas music. Bing Crosby.
And
old 40s.
Chestnuts,
I like the old ass Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer cartoon, the Frosty the Snowman, all that shit from my childhood.
I like the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer that was in the 30s that came before the one that we all know, the cartoon one that it came from. It's not for children, although it was. It shouldn't have been.
Yeah, it was pretty freaky. I've seen it.
I love
it. If you could send that to me.
Oh, I did send it to you last Christmas, right?
Oh, yeah, you did.
Yeah, I'll send it to you again.
Do it.
I love it.
It's different.
It is different, but it's the original. I love Christmas. I love the family part, the cooking, the baking, the Christmas music, the Christmas jammies. I just love it.
I have my first family Christmas tomorrow. So I'm pretty excited for that because for those who don't know, I do have a 2-year-old and a 6-year-old. And they're both pretty darn excited. So I'm excited for them.
Yes. Of course they are. Presents!
So let's blast off into our next topic.
Yep.
COP25. For those of you who do not know, COP25 is the Conference of Parties, and this is their 25th year. And it was held in Madrid, Spain. I'm glad I remembered that because I didn't write it down. But it's been organized by Chile. Which is all good, important information to know because, well, we're not leading it. So it's important to know who is. Of course, Greta Thunberg has been touring continents, trying to gather support and build up activism, and she's been doing a great fucking job of it over the whole past year. She made some really great points. I think she talked for a few hours at the conference, and then Time Magazine said, "Hey, you're our fucking Person of the Year," which is spectacular, which earned a comment from Michelle Obama. Wowee! She said, "If I don't know if I have it exact, but I think the quote was, ignore their ignorance," or something like that, which is nice. That is empowering. She is a strong female role model, and that's great. But also, like, what has she and her family done for the environment? Not enough. I'm not saying they didn't steer the boat a little better in the right direction.
They spoke about it. They didn't be about it.
Right, exactly.
Which is more than we're doing now.
Yeah, more or less. Yes. So credit where credit is due. They did more than a lot of politicians did. But that's not what we need. We need like revolutionary change. And that's what these climate activists that we've been trying to pay attention to when any news media gives them any time whatsoever, because it's not just people in Paris. It's not just people in the Amazon. It's not just crazy leftists over here in the USA or in Canada. It's there's a lot of native peoples, and there's a lot of coastal areas who know like climate change is real. They feel the effects of it way before we do, and they're sticking up and doing something about it. And that's what these conferences are for, is to figure out what to do about it. And we need to listen to the voices of those who are most impacted by the ramifications of climate change. Naga, do you have anything to add to this? Any thoughts?
Yeah, it's this is something that I'm very passionate about. I've been involved with for a very long time. People laugh at ALC for her Green Deal, but ALC actually did go. What she was one of those climate activists. But in putting it together, she did actually go and talk to a lot of climate activists. And what she put together is it doesn't even go far enough. But yet they scoff at it. Oh, ALC wants to take away airplanes. Well, if you want to save the world, we got to take away airplanes. And I don't even think that her Green Deal went that far.
It does not.
Yeah, it doesn't. But I mean, eventually, like that's what climate activists would want. We would want not necessarily to take all of our modern society away, but there's ways to have modern society and still be at one with the earth and respect the earth and allow the earth to heal. You can have green walkovers of interstates, so animals could actually walk back and forth to their habitats and not be separated by these big interstates. There's green buildings. There's green cement now that soaks up the sun and the energy of the sun. I mean, there's so many things that we could be doing, and they just choose not to because we're relying on the fossil fuel industry, and they pretty much own our government.
All right, I think I have a suggestion that would really, really help this whole thing. Space Force.
Yeah, I mean, if we get Space Force going, then maybe we can go to the next planet before we destroy this one completely.
Yeah, we'll go to planet B, and then maybe we'll go to planet C. It's no big deal.
We're going to have to destroy this planet.
I mean, it might take 1,000 years to get there, but we might get there.
Or more. This week, there was the first test of an electronic plane. This week. Okay. Anybody can type that in. First test of electronic plane. It didn't go far because this is not something that people have invested in because it's not a big money. There's no money in it right now. It's test time. But nobody's saying the future will be no planes and no cows. The future will be different, not less, more and different. And if we can find ways, let's say that we put a limit on billionaire families having 5 private jets. I don't think that that's too much to ask. Maybe have 1 here, and if you have a home in Russia, maybe you have 1 there. 2's the limit. I mean, seriously, 1 would be fine. But we have to agree as a species what's valuable to us and what we're willing to invest in. We like being able to live in a kind of one world where I can talk to, I have friends in India. How cool is that? Friends that I met on Atheist Republic that I can talk to in real time. I don't want to give that up. And I think that most people that travel, I can speak for them, don't want to give it up. And why should they? We should, as a species, just agree that we want to invest on new ways of doing that. And if electric planes are a way and they have to, if they're going from San Francisco to Japan, if they have to stop in the islands to refuel, then they have to stop in the island. That would be the same with fossil fuels. Like, who cares?
Well,
or have extra batteries on board.
I think that's the ultimate misconception because, they put all these things in environmentalists' mouths and stuff. It's not like, they're not even really saying like you got to make all these hard sacrifices. We're just saying that we need to invest in renewables and green energy, and we need to really invest in the future. And we do need to make small personal sacrifices. Yeah, I'm a meat eater. I'm a terrible environmentalist. But
brisket.
Yeah, I mean, I got to have my meat. I couldn't give that up. They're not expecting everybody to give up everything, but we do want everybody to at least be aware and to stop denying it. Maybe then we could actually start to get somewhere. But yeah, like there's just so many ways. Like and people don't even realize we've got to redo everything anyway. The reason that Flint has dirty water is because that their pipes are ancient. And guess what? Your pipes are ancient too. Everybody's pipe, like we live on, our infrastructure's fucked. We got to redo everything anyway. Let's do it right this time.
Brant, who's in our chat, just got notice that his water has lead in it. Now,
yeah, I mean, it's happening.
He's in Idaho, where they are known to have the cleanest water. They still do have the cleanest water, but the infrastructure that brings it in is crumbling. But we want to still spend over half of the entire nation's budget on blowing up people instead of fixing these things.
And Space Force.
How much do you think it costs? How much do you think it costs to just drop that one bomb in Afghanistan, the mother of all bombs that we dropped just so Trump could get his rocks off?
Millions.
How much did that cost? You know, like, millions. Why are we wasting
as of right now, we drop a bomb every 12 minutes. Now, today.
It's crazy.
For the last, I think it's 16 years, every 12 minutes. A few years before that were more.
Yeah,
I mean, fighting, and what is the end game?
How many people have died since we started this?
What is the end game? Over 1 million.
Yes. We just gotta.
It's ridiculous.
We need more higher taxes from everybody because, the rich can't afford it. They're busy and they need to bomb people. So we gotta buy bombs.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna say,
bombs.
I'm definitely with Bernie and AOC. I don't think that billionaires should be a thing. You know, like
I agree wholeheartedly.
Do we honestly think that had Epstein not been a billionaire, that he'd have got away with the horrible, horrible things that he was getting away with? No, his money hid that shit. You know, nobody needs that much money. Nobody needs that much power. Nobody needs that much influence. You can get by with like $250,000 a year. You'll be fine. $500,000 a year. You'll be fine. You're not going to die. But I mean, whatever the cap is, whatever, I'm for AOC's capital gains tax. Whatever it is, I just think that, billionaires really shouldn't be a thing, at least not here.
Right. And I agree. Christy and I are both for the idea of a maximum wage. So,
yeah, I'm fairly certain that if there are any moderate to conservative leaning people in the audience, we really just fucking triggered them.
Yeah. Yeah. But I always bring this up. We trigger people who they can't comprehend the amount of money we're talking about. Because Matt and I aren't talking about the husband and wife or wife and wife or single, the one family that makes $500,000 a year because they really literally busted their ass, became a brain surgeon. They're living the American dream. We're not talking about your $500,000. You did it. You go, girl. I will never go that here. But I'm not talking about
even $1 million. I'm fine.
Yeah.
I have a harder time justifying it, but I still think that's possible. You can live a lavish life off of $1 million.
That's close to home,
and that's fine.
Stacy worked at a dental office where the doctor made 1 point something million a year, and they didn't live lavish lives. They did have 2 homes, one on the beach and a boat. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the families who 3 generations ago have not had to work because they were just handed the estate, and we've taken less and less taxes from estate. I don't think that you should just inherit $5 or $56 billion. You did nothing, and then tomorrow you're $56 billion richer. I don't think that's acceptable.
I think that there was a billionaire that spent $1 billion on an underground compound for when the apocalypse comes. Like $1 billion. Like you don't. I mean, come on. For one, like 10 people's going to be down there. You spend $1 billion. Like what the hell?
Yeah. So I want to remind everyone, because we did rabbit trail off a little bit. All of this really is kind of tied to climate change, though. Because Naka made a really good point of saying we do need to make a change in lifestyle, right? And it doesn't need to be absolutely dramatic. Like it should be like a little bit of a culture shock, like everyone together, a little bit of a shock. But I think we should embrace it, especially if you're of the younger generation. You're one of those millennials who are part of the I want it now generation, right? Argue the opposite. Say, oh no, like it is nice to have things now. I have my cell phone. That's great. But also I could take a 5-hour longer trip to the Bermuda Triangle. I don't know. Where do people go now? Anywhere, or I can, I can wait longer for this or that, or I can shop smarter.
Yes. That's huge. Shopping smarter is a big thing.
It is, but it's not a big thing to the biggest to the problem as a whole if there's only a 10th of the population doing it, and there's not the 10th of the population doing it.
And really, like, if people would just be self-interested, think about yourself, because guess what? People don't know what's going to happen. In 50 years, there's going to be tornadoes that just pop up. You could be walking outside and now you're dead because a tornado hit you right smack on the head, because they're going to be that frequent and they're just going to pop all over the place.
Tornado.
All of these models are out there for anybody to see. Realize, you might be dead in 20 years and you might not have to worry about it. Your grandchildren will. But a lot of us, we're living longer and longer lives. Like, you might be alive to see the really bad stuff start to happen. Think about yourself, your own self-interest, because we don't have much longer left, honestly, if you look at the models.
Yeah,
I think
we're already starting to see that.
The newest report said that by 2050, it's going to be 5 degrees. If we stay exactly what we're doing right now, by 2050, it's going to be over the 5 point something, which
hurricanes are going to get worse and worse.
It's done. We're done. People will live on the North Pole and the South Pole and nowhere else. I don't think people realize this. There will be no middle.
It's going to be the opposite of what it is now, right? We live towards the middle of the planet. We're going to have to start.
It'll be too hot.
There'll be mass migration. There'll be large groups of people in certain areas, and it'll be like Mad Max type shit. Yeah. You're going to be fighting over
water wars,
killing over water. It's going to get crazy, and people need to understand that, but they don't. They think that they've got forever to just keep it on.
And it's going to get there faster.
The ones making the laws about it have friends in high places or are in high places themselves, and they know that even if it went down, they're good.
Oh yeah, they got those underground bunkers.
They have $1 billion one.
Yeah. I would like to point out that that we're going to get there a lot faster to that Mad Max world if we keep the capitalist system that we have now.
100% agreed.
Yeah, because we're going to have those famines. We're going to have these water struggles, right? But if we allow ourselves to stay in this capitalist mindset and this competitive mindset for everything, especially the important things like healthcare, like water rights, like the fire department. Luckily, that's a social thing. You can already see it. Like, if you look at the land grab, all of the rich people are buying land on water. They're buying water. They're buying our water because they know that that's going to be the most important thing in 50 years. Yeah, and they're very right. But also, we have national parks that belong to everyone. Beaches and stuff should be like that too, I think. Right? I agree to a point, and I guess no one's going to like this, that, we should have private property, right? Like, that does make sense. But at the same time, we should have a lot more public property. Right. We should have a lot more public property. I appreciate how the indigenous tribes did it before we got here and, ruined shit.
No,
it's the things that are public should be common goods.
Yeah.
The things that are public should be water.
Right. We don't need to go completely commie. I don't think we need to do that. But
I've always been for more of a hybrid state, but definitely more socialism than the capitalism. I think we've tried capitalism long enough. We've seen the crony capitalism. We've seen the result of capitalism, the just extreme poverty. We've seen the extreme greed. So let's try something different. Nobody's saying go full blown socialist or communist. I would personally love to see a real communist country for once in this world, because we've never actually seen a real communist country.
Right. By the book communist country.
By where the people own the means of production, like everything's common, like we just haven't seen it. There's no class, there's no state, we haven't seen that yet.
Not yet. Right. Cuba, look into Cuba because they're doing amazing things right now.
I've heard, somebody mentioned that to me before, and I haven't looked yet. I need to look at it.
Yes.
We should do a whole show on Cuba.
Oh, I would love to have Tom Hartman on so he can talk about. He goes there. He goes there every year with his wife. I've messaged him, but he's freaking famous. I'm like I'm nobody. But him and his wife go. They have universal healthcare, universal dental. Where did the medicine for curing one particular kind of lung cancer come from? Cuba. Where did this new medicine for AIDS come from? Cuba. Where did all these dental procedures come from? Cuba.
Yeah. Is it Cuba or Puerto Rico that's at net zero carbon emissions? Huh?
Puerto Rico's America.
Yeah, I know, but I can't remember if it's Cuba or Puerto Rico who's gone down to net zero carbon emissions. It's one of them.
I know that parts of Puerto Rico have because of the last hurricane, because of rebuilding. They did it so that they wouldn't need the state to come in and help anymore.
Yeah.
But Cuba, they wanted to, Fidel died.
Yeah.
And they wanted to rewrite their constitution. So they literally did the most democratic thing they could do, was they sent out to all areas, every single person got a list of things that they could write in that they wanted to change or be a part of. And then that went in, they voted on them. Then those things came out and everybody got to vote on those. And then they all met in smaller, instead of 500 people, in their community centers. And everybody was involved in writing this new constitution. And because of this, we put more sanctions on them.
Yeah, it's true.
And those damn communists.
They had everybody's involved. Everybody gets to vote on everything, on education, on everything. And I think that's why we have such a huge blockade to this country. They don't want us to see this.
Right. And real quick, and then we're going to end this part of the conversation. So
the next one's going to be fun.
Yeah, it is. And we usually try to end by about 12:30. We don't want it to go more than 2 hours because we don't want to torture anyone with us that long. But I do want to say Venezuela as well did the same thing with their constitution. They fucking voted on it.
Not
and
as
it took
much,
months and months. It took a long process. I could be lowballing it with the months and months. But
no, it was a long time. It was 15, 16 months.
Yeah. Like I said, maybe lowballing it. Maybe it took over a year. So, I think everyone got the gist of the whole conversation. So we'll move on. So the next thing is, I feel like I cleverly titled Straight Powell. Straight Powell.
Is he though?
He might be. He advocates for straight Powell.
He's married now.
Is he? That doesn't mean nothing.
That doesn't mean. I was married too. I have kids.
True that.
He kind of had to because he's doing that whole NIFB thing.
Yeah.
So got to have the trophy wife.
You have to. Yeah.
So
isn't he a kid?
He's 22 now, I think.
Yeah, he's a kid.
Yeah. So, Naka, if you would like to lead us through this, at least for the next 15 minutes, just go ahead and lead whatever you want to share on Matt Powell.
All right, yeah, so,
introduce who he is a little bit to our audience for those who don't know.
So, my people that's here, you guys are quite familiar with them. You know him by the lovely name that we've given him. Or I can't take credit for it. It was originally a non sequitur that gave him the name, but it has taken off. Everybody uses it. His name is Cupcake.
It's so cute.
Probably with some
I thought you were going to say Brat Towel.
No. He's Cupcake. With some fruity sprinkles on top.
Yeah, little ginger snap on.
So he just came out with a new movie, and in his last movie, famously, I was in it, and just butchered our second face-to-face conversation, edited it into a way to make me look like I was saying some just off-the-wall things, and like he was brilliant. But even then, if you watch that movie, it's just, you just go through it and just you're trying not to puke because it's so bad. Everything he says is so stupid. So he's got a new movie out right now, and he's talking about the Hebrew roots movement. And I had no idea who these people were, but it's kind of funny because I've been doing a lot of this research around Paul and like the rift he had in the beginnings of the Christian church with the apostles that actually met Jesus, people that knew Jesus, Jesus's own brother James, supposedly, who led that first Christian church. And it seems like, I don't know too much about the Hebrew roots movement, but it almost seems like they're trying to be like those first Christians, those first Jewish Christians, and they're trying to follow the Torah and be Jewish, basically. So, the first time I met Matt Powell, he had a really just obsessive outlook on Yeshua. Like, there's no Yeshua, it's Jesus. Yeshua's, he talked about it for a good half an hour at least. So this whole movie, this Hebrew roots movement, they follow Yeshua. They think that Jesus is a fake name, that Yeshua is the real name, and they follow the Torah, and they're very strict when it comes to that, I guess. I'm finding out about them a little bit. So I'm going to start reviewing this movie, but I'm going to try to do it in a way that's really comparing, like, what's Christianity supposed to be? We have this mainstream Christianity. We have these Matt Powells and Steven Andersons calling for the genocide of gay people, calling for the abject slaughter of women that cheat on their husbands, or, depending on which NIFB you talk to, they might tell you that, if an unruly child might need their brains bashed in. So we have these people coalescing, coming together against a Hebrew roots movement, who is essentially, from what I've seen, I'm sure that they have a lot of things about them that I wouldn't like. I need to really look into them, but they seem to be Jews, and they seem to be trying to follow their religion as, from my study of that time period, 25 years after Jesus supposedly died. I'm a mythicist, so take that as a grain of salt. But supposedly after he died, there was this rift between Paul and the people that knew Jesus. And, famously, Peter made this statement that Paul was, giving divine prophecy or whatnot. But, it was this thing that I was looking into, and Matt Powell released his movie recently about it. So, yeah, I'm going to be reviewing that. But the thing about Matt Powell is he is ascending. He is making these full-length feature movies now for the NIFB. He's definitely NIFB now. There's no, he used to try to deny it. He'd go and hang out with the Ben the Baptist and the Stephen Anderson, but no, I'm not NIFB. I'm a Baptist. But no, he's an NIFB. He's in Phoenix now, and he is with Stephen Anderson. So he has ascended. I'm fairly certain that he's being prepped to be a preacher, to be one of those upper echelons of people, because he's their future and they see that in him. It's sad. I get a lot of blowback because people are like, you shouldn't cover him, you shouldn't promote him. I'm like, he's got Kent Hovind promoting him. He's got Steven Anderson promoting him. Little old Nakasuchi ain't doing nothing except for calling him for what he is. And maybe that's what you don't like about it. So yeah, it's an ongoing thing with him. Like, it's kind of funny with Matt. If I stop making videos on him, I'll go like a month or two. He'll make sure to do something to get my attention again, because that's the kind of person he is. So yeah,
he likes that reaction.
Yeah, and he wants me thinking about him. Like, he's that narcissistic. He's like, oh, Raging Atheist is covering all these other people. He's not talking about me anymore. It needs to be about me. It needs to be about me. And then I give him what he wants, because he does something atrocious every time. Like, he is one of the most reprehensible people I've ever met. And it seems fitting that Steven Anderson, who has to be the most reprehensible person on the planet, would see the future in him. It's kind of funny. So yeah, if you guys haven't seen it, might want to go check out his movies. Are usually good for about 150 face palms. So it should be interesting.
Wear a helmet.
Yeah, wear a helmet. Maybe drink some really stiff booze. Smoke some good weed or something. Whatever you got to do to get through it.
Yeah, but, you need it. You need whatever, a joint, a liquor, or helmet and all the other, like joint and liquor in a helmet. Yeah. He's awful. And you said just a minute ago, you know, that I just want to say that you have to speak out. You have to speak out about religious bullshit or lies. It doesn't matter. Like you said, little old you, but you know he's doing this, and you're an atheist activist. It is your duty to do that, or don't call yourself an atheist activist, because that's why you exist.
It's the funny thing too, because like, you know, it's basically been proven if you don't talk about the NIFB, then they keep growing. So I mean, they're the Westboro Baptist. They're the Westboro Baptist Church, a much more extreme version of it, except for to where the Westboro Baptist Church stayed just this little family union, this one church that just goes all over the country and pickets and does their horrible shit. The NIFB has actually grown, and they're in like 30 different countries. Their movement is growing big here. I just did a thing. One of their pastors, Pastor Shelley, is actively promoting NIFB members to go to Bermuda because they want to take over Bermuda, because Bermuda is primarily very fundamental Christian already. So they think that this is a place that they can actually take over and turn this paradise into some, I don't know, NIFB paradise or something. Really weird. So yeah, you kind of have to pay attention to what they're doing, or they're going to just keep growing and getting bigger and bigger and bigger. We have them in our backyard here in Michigan now. They're up north. Matt Powell pretty much started it here. I don't know if he started it, but he was definitely a big reason why we have so many of them now. You know, I got Guzman here. You know, Guzman's that little 12-year-old kid. Everybody, if you know anything about the NIV, you know Guzman. And it's sad. You see a 12-year-old kid saying these slurs, talking about genocide, talking about killing all gay people. Like, you're 12. You haven't even gotten a pubit yet, and you're talking about killing all gay people. So, yeah, these NIV people, they need to be talked about. And it is a political thing, too, because these very fundamental movements, the NIFB, the Quiverful movement, which the NIFB is closely linked to, all of their pastors are Quiverful and have 8, 10, 12, 15 kids trying to raise an army for Christ. They raise them to be very politically motivated and activated, and they raise them to go into government to try to change government law to Christian law. So, I mean, we all should be aware of this. This is a political and a religious issue, and I will always cover Matt Powell. But I thought it was pretty interesting that he dropped his movie. I'm not saying go watch his movie and give him the view, but maybe find out about the Hebrew root movement. And the next time you see Matt Powell on a live stream somewhere debating somebody, drop some knowledge on him and see if he actually knows what the hell he's talking about, because I guarantee you he doesn't.
He blocked me.
Oh, really?
Did he?
In chats, like when he used to come on Non Sequitur.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I'm a girl, and I'm gay. And I mean, I have nothing to offer him. He is like, get next.
See, he admitted to me that he doesn't have much of a problem with girl people that are gay. You know, if you're girls, that's kind of hot. You know, but if you're a dude, that's nasty. You'd have sex with animals and babies and shit.
Oh, wow. And he doesn't see that is like, those can't, like,
oh, yeah.
Hypocrisy.
No, he would probably never admit that publicly, but he admitted that to my face to face, person to person.
I believe it. Most bigots would say the same thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I've heard it from all types of people. Oh
yeah, back when I was a homophobe, I said the same thing. You know, I ain't got no problem with them ladies. Them dudes are nasty, and it is a statement of fear. You are showing the world exactly what you're afraid of.
Yep. Yeah. 100%. You couldn't have said that any better. And then what I find is the people that say these things out of fear don't have anybody in their community that they're close to that is a gay man.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because if they did, they couldn't say that. They'd say, except for this guy. You know, they make an exception. Well, maybe not all of them. Some of them, not all of them.
It's funny because in my live streams, like I'll have these really fundamental Christians come in, and you can see it like when they realize, oh, I'm talking to a trans person right now, and I didn't even know it, and it's, you can just see it register, and just their face will get red, and they'll shut down, and they'll finally block that person like they've blocked every other woman, you know, like Jesus is Lord is known for blocking women. Got into a big back and forth with AR, and we're like, Jesus Lord, AR is a woman. and then it dawned on him, and now Jesus is Lord has a no trans policy as well. So no women, no trans. And it's just like you can see the bigotry just come off these people in waves, and it's
they're not even good enough to be TERFs.
No, yeah, and you can definitely see it like emboldened since Trump. Like a lot of these NIFB people pretend like they don't like Donald Trump. They do. They love Donald Trump. They love the anti-abortion stance that he takes. They love the Supreme Court judges he's putting. Like they really enjoy the things he's doing, but they'll tell you that they don't like Donald Trump because he's not a real Christian. But they have been emboldened. Like, Steven Anderson was always saying this stuff. Matt Powell was always saying this stuff. But now their acolytes have no qualms just trying to go worse than Steven Anderson and Matt Powell. Like, it's gotten a lot worse, and there's no decorum anymore. And these people feel emboldened. They feel like they can say these things because, the president's pretty much doing it.
Yeah. The president just, I pay attention, I get his emails, I get
so do I. I'm on his Twitter feed.
Conservative information daily. And on his website, he just started selling a whole new batch of rainbow hats that say MAGA, a rainbow LGBTQI t-shirts for Trump. Do you not understand he banned you from serving this country? Like, he does not like you.
And there are some out there that just love the guy, like I have a couple family members that are gay and they're Trumpers, and it's like, how? How? Like
la 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 la.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's see no evil, hear no evil.
Do we get our
my Supreme Court judge?
Yep. Do we get our judges? Do we get our laws? Do we get a reinstate Christmas? Do we? I know everybody I know loves Christmas, but that every year, with Trump this year, he even said we get to say Christmas again on his most recent.
Because of the whole war on Christmas shit, I actually started waging war on Christmas. Like every Christmas, I'm doing like Christmas is a pagan holiday shit. Like here's the real history of pagan. I never did that shit until they started talking about a war on Christmas. I'm like, if you want it, you're gonna get it.
Good one. Well, we almost lost Thanksgiving this year too.
Yeah, well, if I had my way, that's the one that go. I'd get that one.
No, I'm with you. Did you see our show last week?
Oh yeah, I was in a live chat.
I couldn't really pay attention because
we did. I did one on my channel on Thanksgiving. Me and another Native American half blood. We ranted and raved for 2 hours about the evil American government and the genocide that's still happening.
Evil white colonizers.
Yeah, the colonials that still exist today.
Yes, it does. It's an the empire colonial way of thinking. It's old. It's so old, and
we see it happening in Hawaii now. In Hawaii, they're taking ancient traditional land and putting big giant telescopes on it, and
I know we covered that.
Yeah. It's horrific, and you think as an atheist and a person that loves science, I'd be on the side of the scientists. Not this time. I'm just not.
You take someone's
you're taking their land, man. It's like you're taking yours. Yeah, it's like those Indian Affairs guys that trampled all over our burial grounds during No DAP. Oh no, I'm not for that. I'm just not.
No, I'm not either. I'm not for ruining a
strange standard to have.
I'm not for ruining a synagogue. I'm not for if group of people believe in this.
Exactly.
Why do we need to hurt it? And it doesn't belong to you. Don't touch it.
I'm not for getting rid of religion. Religion is harmless. It's what you do with it. That's what I'm focused on. That's what I'm focused on. There's plenty of good religious folks out there that aren't douchebags.
The majority of people, I think, are good.
Me too. I think the vast majority.
Yeah, and I think that if they were given factual information on a regular basis, they would actually vote correctly too, because they are good. They want to be good. It's just American exceptionalism doctrination is serious.
And if we had a true separation of state, I mean, these hot button issues like abortion, that wouldn't even be a fucking thing, right? Like your religion wouldn't be able to get in the way of politics, but we don't. We allow it, and we've allowed it, and we've allowed it, and now it's running rampant worse than ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. And our Constitution says separation of state and church.
Yep.
However,
Thomas
like
Jefferson's letters.
Liberal churches, with them having politicians come and talk, Pete Buttigieg recently. I see conservative churches where the pastor's telling them who to vote for.
Yeah.
I mean, they record it and put it online like, I dare you to do
It's one of the things Mike Pence did first was take away that clause that made it pretty much illegal for pastors to talk politics from the pulpit. Now they can quite clearly direct you towards a candidate to where they couldn't before.
Yeah.
Oh, it's infuriating.
It really is.
Election. That's what I tell people, man. Elections matter. We got to turn out and vote this time, damn it.
Yeah, there are consequences, huge consequences to every religion.
Yeah, thankfully, Ruth Bader she's holding in there. She's holding in there. But like, if we lose another one, man, we get one more of Donald Trump's judges on the Supreme Court, we're fucked for 20 years.
For 40 years.
40 years, yeah.
He has implanted 217 federal judges. Some of them in their early 30s have never tried a case ever in any court.
They're donors.
Was graded by the court system that grades lawyers to be a judge, saying not good.
He's pushed through a lot just the last couple of weeks during these impeachment hearings. While everybody's watching the impeachment hearings, they're pushing more judges into the system. Nobody's talking about it.
And he implanted all of those judges right in the judicial fallopian tubes.
Yes.
I think he turned the 9th district now. I think officially the 9th district has turned. It's now Republican. I think it just happened. And no shit. I mean, the 9th district, that was ours.
Yep. And also with judges, he has taken there was an order to fill more judges in this area, not in order to fill judges in this area. What'd he do? Take money from these two, not fill them, and fill in all these ones that he can control. And I do have to say both sides do this.
Yeah, I just wish that we did it a little better. I wish we did it as good as they did.
They do a lot of things when it comes to politics, because they don't feel guilt or shame. No. I don't think that they do. I think that they don't care.
I think that the writing's been on the wall for a while. So everybody likes to say that this is a center-right country. I'm like, the writing's been on the wall that this country has moved left for a very long time. Yeah, sure. If you ask most people, because of demonizing words like socialism, they'll say, oh yeah, I'm moderate left. You ask them if they want universal health care, most of them do. You ask them if they want universal gun checks, most of them do. Even most NRA members want those universal background checks. So I mean, this country has moved to the left.
Yeah, our government is very conservative. The people of this nation are very, very left.
When you look at it by policy, there's not a doubt.
And that's the problem in this country. Policy is not talked about because that would change everything.
Yeah. No, they keep it to those hot button. Yep. Exactly. Abortion and guns.
Yes. God.
And God.
And God.
Got to put God back in school. Yeah.
Well,
so, I hope they do that, because as an atheist, I'm going to school every day dressed up as Lucifer. Like, seriously.
Here in my state, just last year, they passed a law that in every state house, it will say, "In God we trust." On every license plate, it says, "In God we trust." In public schools now, they can put "In God we trust" on the walls, per the law in the state of Florida. This is what our tax money is going to. No private tax funding.
And then they wonder why we want to impeach the fucker.
It's against the Bill of Rights. It's against the amendments. All right.
I know that's not an impeachable offense, but come on, atheists. I mean, are you right, atheists out there? You're cool with all that Christian shit?
No. No. I do want to say real quick, and I'm going to back us up quite a bit. Talking about Matt Powell and Steven Anderson and Kent Hovind, who prop this boy up, right? This man, he's a man, whatever, barely.
He's a boy.
Barely.
He's a boy.
He's a
barely.
Boy.
But it really reminds me what I was listening to earlier today, and what we had just covered a little bit ago with what's his face,
the
Rick Wiles.
Anti-Semite,
yeah. When I was watching that clip from Secular Talk, Kyle Kalinske was like laughing his ass off because, as gross as it is, it's almost hilarious.
Yeah.
Because this guy's fucking nuts. And then he said the scary thing, which is if you get someone with a little more charisma who says stuff like this, that is beyond dangerous.
Very.
And that's what Matt has always been. He has the charisma that speaks to people like that, who speak to Trumpers, who speak to anyone who's leaning just far enough right to fall into that white nationalism. He really does. Like, credit where credit is due, man.
He has
that.
A natural charisma about him. And I've never taken that away from him. When I met him in person, like, just to see the workings of how the people, like, because he had about 15 people there with him the second time, just to see how they all did his bidding. Like, they all, like, I mean, like, he was the master. Like, even the guy's dad would do what Matt said. You know, like, he would say, do a thing, and the dad went and did it. You know, I'm like, holy shit, my dad would slap me. You know?
Look, when you feel like you're serving something that's God appointed.
Yeah.
Like,
and they all see him like
that.
Yeah. They all see like he's this great man of God, that God shines on him and has given him this graceful tongue, and he's got a good, you know, I won't take that away from him either. He can talk his way into some shit. But
yeah,
the thing about him, he does give himself away, and his just youth and just how naive he is. Yeah, it does end up kind of biting him in his ass. And I think that's the most dangerous thing about him being with Steven Anderson now, because now he's really learning from somebody that's done it for 20, 30 years now, however long Anderson's been doing it. Anderson knows all those tricks and knows how to really, I think, hone this potential psychopath. I mean, that's what Matt Powell is. I see him in 20 years majorly advocating for some very serious shit that we don't want to see in this country. And probably maybe gaining some ground, because like you said, he has this ability. If you're just slightly leaning to the right, man, he'll suck you in, and before you know it, because they're all anti-Semites too. They all hate Jewish people.
Yeah.
You know, before you know it, you're basically a white nationalist with the NIFB. You know, it's really scary. It's really scary.
Doubt they know a one Jewish person.
It's why I was so grateful when Mr. Atheist took up the cause and everybody else joined in, because, you know, it wasn't just me anymore talking about Matt, which everybody was talking about Matt, but I was just constantly going at the NIFB.
He's my pretend boyfriend.
He became my hero. He became my hero because he brought a lot of awareness that a lot of people didn't know who the NIFB was before Jimmy did what he did.
Yeah,
they knew Matt Powell and they knew Steven Anderson, but now they know the NIFB.
Was my first introduction to the NI.
Me too.
And I just thought, it's bad enough that he is saying these things, but that he had a room full of people. And the first video I saw of Anderson was him telling the men in the room that they all, like, telling them what they agree on, that you guys agree that women don't talk in the church. That's what the Bible says. You guys don't have a fucking problem, or a gosh darn problem with it, do you? And, you know, you could hear everybody, no, we don't, because that's what the good Lord says. You know, women should be silent. Now, I went out and I'm being told by feminists, and you hear the room like, boo. I'm like, is this a church? And I just felt like, how do we fight that?
Yeah, you'll actually, if you listen close enough, you'll hear them say like things like cuck and libtards, and I mean, it's like you know, Alex Jones is right there with them, you know, telling them what to say.
Church. Oh man.
Yeah, it's
in America.
This is Matt Powell. Really is a problem that we're gonna have to deal with for a long time.
Yeah.
He's really earning his wings.
And no matter what he says,
be that guy.
He goes worse and worse. Like, you know, the last time I spoke to him, he said that, you know, all gay people are like Hitler, and I'm like, man, that's new. Like he's never went that far before with it. You know, like, it's just he gets worse and worse and worse and worse.
Hitler killed gay people. I'm so confused.
It's so, like, it just doesn't make any sense. But he just continues to take it to the next step to see how far he can actually go, and he never loses supporters. He gains them. He is a problem. I've tried to figure out, like, what's the best way to do it. Like, should we just go at it? I think the way Mr. Atheist did it is the best way. You go after their platforms, you know, and I know that's cancel culture. A lot of people don't like it. I tend to be in agreement for extreme situations like this, to where they're preaching extreme hatred. Right. I think that should be the line.
Yeah, I've said a few times on this show that I'm very close to a free speech absolutist. Very close.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah, my line is not actually hate speech. I'm like, yeah, if you want to say some hateful shit, that's kind of what the First Amendment's for. But when you call for
violence,
or that includes doxing, that's what I got. No, sorry, that doesn't protect you anymore, as far as I'm concerned. Like, a call to violence is like, I feel like, it's just not covered. It's just not covered. Sorry.
So, I tend to be with you. Like, I've always been the type of person, like, if you can't take hearing the worst, you know, what is a freedom of speech? So it's not even so much about the worst. It's if you're calling for, like, a genocide, or if you're calling for, like, just mass death, and you actually have people listening to you, then I think it's time to really start thinking about it. At least maybe regulating the speech, maybe not taking it away. I don't know, but something.
I don't think the government should be able to punish anybody for even saying, I don't like gay people and I think that the government should kill them. He said that. Those are words he has said. Mm-hmm. However, I think that it is the people's responsibility to organize and make sure, if he's going to be somewhere speaking, that
we're there.
You know that you have twice as many people to go counter protest his dumbassery.
Yeah, and I think that's what I try to do, is just rile up, you know, hey, this guy's bad. You know, pay attention. If he's out there, get in that chat. I don't like saying the word harass, but let him know how you feel.
Challenge.
Let his people know how you feel.
Challenge. Yeah. Confront. You know, ask questions, push them up
I definitely don't. You know, I've always said, like, even Matt Powell can be reached. Like, you know, even maybe one day, who knows? Maybe 10 years from now, Matt Powell is one of the best advocates for equality we have. Who knows what time will bring? But that will only happen if we're showing up and we're telling them exactly how we feel about the things he's saying.
I know a lot of conservatives think that free speech means that you should be able to say whatever you want with no consequences. And that is not the definition of free speech.
And they like to say
you're able to say whatever you want without
like to say that until it's like lefties saying what we want to say. And then
or us showing up and challenging them on their free speech with our own free speech. They don't like that.
Yeah.
They cry, you're ruining my free speech. You're taking away my free speech, but that's not I don't think they've read the Constitution.
Yeah, they really don't like it when I call them a Nazi. I'm like, why are you calling me a Nazi? And I'm like, well, I mean, I'm not really calling you a Nazi. I'm just saying that you have like Nazi-like immigration policy, you know?
I saw a t-shirt that said, if you don't like being called a Nazi, quit doing Nazi shit.
Yeah. I love it. Yeah. It's like my motto.
Get me that shirt for Christmas anyway.
That's amazing, right?
Or size small. Okay, so we got to wrap this up.
Yeah, it was a great show. Everybody had fun.
Yes, I do want to mention a few things before we go. A few things that are coming up, and something I forgot earlier that I wanted to bring up real quick because it was super important. So why I wanted to bring up the COP conference is that the first thing that like caught my eye, I'm like, shit, we need to like cheer about this, is that the United Nations, the COP conference, they're talking about, they're looking at making Shell, ExxonMobil, Chevron, BP, companies like so, legally and morally liable for the damages done to coastal areas like the Philippines, specifically the Philippines. That would be huge.
Yes.
That would be amazing. Even if the United States don't back it, fuck the United States, because it's the rest of the nations. They do business in other countries.
Yes.
It
And
will
if the rest of the
decap
nations
them no
come
matter
on
what.
board, when we get this fucker out of the office and everything goes back to normal, we'll
Yeah.
come back on board too. You know?
Oh yeah, very strong. But in the meantime, those companies who held back research, like ExxonMobil, who knew about this back in the 70s?
Oh, yeah, they're one of the
It's
worst.
the 60s. My bad. They'll be held responsible for the damages that they created by just pure negligence,
by hiding
and selfishness,
using propaganda.
Yeah. So that was huge. We don't need to talk about it because I know we need to wrap up. I wanted to talk about it, but it's awesome. And if it goes through, we're going to talk more about it.
If you want to watch any of the speeches from COP25, DemocracyNow.com or .org, not the YouTube channel, DemocracyNow.org. Their website, they have all of them.
Yes.
All of them.
Go there.
Highly recommend it.
We're all on top of it. Excuse me. Next week, we did not actually just ignore the Afghanistan IG report. Christy's working on a larger piece, like she did with the Turkey Day stuff, but larger. So she's going to be working on that. I'm going to try to read it. I don't know if I'm going to have time, but I'm at least going to cover more on it.
I'll send you some easy things.
Yeah, that'd be good. I need spark notes, guys. So there's that. There's the Democratic debate, which is supposed to be next Thursday. So I'm going to try to catch that. If they don't just flat out boycott it, because there's a protest, there's a labor thing going on, and I already closed the link to it because I didn't think we were going to cover it. But they said that they're going to be picketing where the debate's going to be held, and all 7 of the candidates who made it on stage have said, we're not going to cross the line. Which is fucking awesome. You should do that. Thank you. Sir. So that's wonderful. But also, I like watching the debates. And PBS, I think, is hosting this one, so I might actually be able to
it should be. It should be PBS every time.
Yeah,
that's what we say all the time. It should be public broadcasting all the time for free.
Especially now, like every debate, we have at least 1 or 2 dropping out. Like we need a couple more to drop.
Yeah.
Well, I just found out tonight that Trump is trying to get out of any debates.
Yeah.
For his re-election.
Oh yeah, he doesn't want to debate.
Want to be a part of any debates.
And if he gets away with that, I mean, what a shame. What a mockery of the Republican Party. You cowards. You snowflakes. You little... Oh, I don't even want to say what you are. I mean, I will have so much fun making those videos about you guys. You let him get away with this.
Yes. Chickens. All of them. Really? You have to.
I'm going to have so much fun. I mean, all the libtard I've gotten, all the snowflakes I've gotten throughout the years. I got a lot of pent-up aggression for you conservatives.
I mean, but who's a snowflake who doesn't want to debate?
Yeah.
I'm not a debater. It's not something that I have in mind or goals to do. But I'm also not running to be a representative of the American people.
I mean, imagine if it's Elizabeth Warren that gets the nomination and he won't debate the woman that he has used inflammatory, derogatory language with for the last 3.5 years, called her Pocahontas.
Racial slurs, this asshole.
Are you scared of a woman, Donald? Are you scared of a woman?
Obviously, a strong one he is.
Oh, yeah.
I
think he's scared of all women. I think... I mean, just notice how he is around Melania.
You know what?
He's scared of Melania.
She smacked his hand away.
Yeah.
Yeah, good times.
I'm gonna link everyone real quick to a little poll that we're gonna have on Twitter. Sorry, I didn't tell you about it first, Christy. I just want to know what everyone thinks about what's the 3 biggest topics that happened in 2019. So maybe we can revisit those topics for our last show of the year, which I think is in 2 weeks. So please comment down there. Let me know what you think there are. I'll review all of them, and whatever I get the most of, we'll try to cover those 3 topics. Just do a little recap before the year's over. So please let us know. Please share it out. And if I have some overwhelming answers, I'll let you guys know what those topics will be next week. If they're still rolling in, we'll just wait until it comes a little closer. So also next week, as I said, we'll have the IG report from Washington Post. Kudos to Washington Post. You guys actually earned it. The Democratic debate said that. Christmas. So we'll give you guys some updates. I'll actually probably, if you guys want, I'll tell you guys a little bit about Star Wars, because I'm going that Thursday to go see it, and I'm going to go dressed as a Grey Jedi, because I'm a big old nerd. And I'm proud of it. So I'll post pictures on my Twitter if you guys want to see. It should be fun. Yeah. I'm excited. So, all right. We've had 24 people watching, I think, like the whole time, it says. Maybe this is wrong, but let me check. Okay, well, it says 22 now, but that's still amazing. We've had
a few more.
Yeah. But we've had some good viewership to the show, so this is great. Thank you, Naka, for bringing in a nice crowd here.
Bringing the OP.
I'm a little disappointed in my people. Like I told them earlier, but I wonder if something.
It's Friday.
Yeah, it's Friday.
Yeah, it is Friday. It is Friday, but no,
good people are here.
Having over 20 people the entire show is pretty good for us. We usually peak at that, but we stayed there the whole time, so that was really great. So thank you, chat. Thank you, people who just watched and listened. We really, really appreciate it. Please share, like, subscribe.
You're welcome back anytime.
Anytime.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. I'm gonna get you guys on my show one of these days.
Yes.
That'd be great. That'd be great.
Awesome. It sure would. I think that would be fun.
Yeah,
I like being in your chat. I have a blast over there.
Yeah. I see you in there having fun, and I'm like, man, I wish I wasn't too busy, because I'd be having fun with her.
I know the feeling. Sometimes I look down and I see 3 or 4 things, and I'm like, oh, I want to reply to all of them, and I can't. So I love you guys in chat. I love you guys. I'm so glad you guys came. Happy Friday.
You guys have a great show here. I enjoy it. I love talking politics with people that are on my same side of the spectrum.
and informed. I would even talk to someone who was the opposite of me, if they were beliefs that they had and they could back up with reason and logic, not because I said so.
Yeah, I've gotten into some really good debates with Soccer Count, and he comes from a legitimate place of really good, right-wing philosophy, and he'll argue with you, and it's good and fun and legitimate, and it takes me back to a time when you could do that in this country, because now
I enjoy Soccer Count. I enjoy
he's fun.
Too.
He's fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, we'll talk more after we go off air. We love you guys. Thank you for joining us. Again, another Friday. Thank you, Naka, for coming on. This really was wonderful, and I hope everyone has a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Christy.
Stay humanist, for God's sake.
Good night.